Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
So, in a world that's just increasingly driven by tech, right? Businesses face this huge challenge. Managing the need for technical support, it just keeps growing.
It really does. It's a constant pressure.
Exactly. So today, we're diving into a report looking at the global market for outsourcing that technical support. Specifically, one from Cognitive Market Research looking out to 2033.
Yeah, it gives us a pretty good snapshot of the scale.
Our mission here is basically to unpack how big this market actually is, where the growth is coming from, and, which industries are really leaning into this.
Let's get into it. The report projects the global market for technical support outsourcing. Well, it's set to hit around USD 48.6 billion in 2025.
Wow, nearly 49 billion. That's substantial.
It is. And looking further out to 2033, that number is expected to climb to roughly USD 74.6 billion.
Okay, so quite a jump. What kind of growth rate are we talking about?
That works out to a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR, of about 5.5% between 2025 and 2033.
5.5%. Steady growth then.
Yeah, solid growth. And these figures, they're based on 2024 as the base year, looking back at trends from 2021 onwards.
Right, so a nearly $49 billion market this year with that steady 5.5% growth. I mean, that really tells you how much businesses are relying on outside help, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's become a core strategy for many.
So geographically speaking, where's the biggest chunk of this market located?
Well, right now, North America is definitely the leader. It accounts for over 40% of the global revenue.
40%.
Yeah. The market size there for 2025 is estimated at just under USD 18 billion. That's 991.07 million to be precise.
Almost 18 billion, and the growth there.
The projected CAGR through 2033 for North America is 4.0%.
Okay, and within North America, I assume the U.S. is the biggest player.
Oh, absolutely. The U.S. market alone is estimated at about USD 14.2 billion for 2025, with a CAGR of 3.8%.
Right.
Then you've got Canada coming in at around USD 2.16 billion, but with a slightly higher growth rate, 4.8%. And Mexico is also significant, around USD 1.6 billion, growing at about 4.5%.
Okay, so North America clearly dominates the current picture. How does Europe compare?
Europe's the second largest market. It holds just over 30% of the global revenue.
Still a huge piece of the pie.
Definitely. We're looking at about USD 14.1 billion for 2025, and the overall European CAGR is projected at 4.6%, so a bit faster growth than North America overall.
And within Europe, any standouts?
Well, Germany actually has the largest market size, close to USD 2.8 billion with a 4.8% CAGR.
Okay.
The UK is next, around USD 2.4 billion, but with a stronger growth rate, 5.4%.
So the UK is growing faster there.
Seems so, yeah. France is smaller, about USD 1.3 billion, growing at 3.8%. And then you have, Russia, Italy, Spain, all contributing quite a bit too. It's quite fragmented across the continent.
It's fascinating to see those different growth rates within Europe. So beyond these sort of established giants, North America and Europe, where's the real action happening? Where's the landscape really, taking off?
Well, that's where the Asia-Pacific region, APAC, comes in. It presents a really dynamic picture.
Okay.
For 2025, it's estimated to be around 23% of the global market. So smaller than Europe currently, at about USD 11.7 billion.
Right. Still significant, though.
Absolutely. But what's really striking is the growth forecast. APAC is expected to have a CAGR of 8.2% between 2025 and 2033.
Wow, 8.2%. That's much higher than North America or Europe.
Significantly higher. It's really outpacing them. And you can probably attribute that to, things like rapidly increasing internet access, a large pool of digitally skilled workers, and often, cost advantages too.
Makes sense. Who's leading the charge in APAC?
China is the biggest market there, projected at about USD 4.9 billion in 2025, with a 7.7% HER, so strong growth.
Okay.
But India is also a major growth engine. Its market size is smaller, maybe around USD 1.2 billion, but the projected CAGR is a remarkable 10.1%.
10%. Okay. India is definitely one to watch, then.
Definitely. Japan, South Korea, Australia, Singapore, Southeast Asia as a whole, they're all showing strong growth too, generally in the 7-9% CAGR range.
That 8.2% overall for APAC really does signal a potential shift in the market center of gravity over time. What about the the other regions, South America, the Middle East, Africa, how do they fit in?
Right. So South America accounts for a bit over 5% of the global revenue, looking at about USD 1.85 billion in 2025.
Right.
And its growth is pretty solid, too, projected CAGR of 6.2%. Brazil is the largest market there.
6.2%, still faster than North America and Europe.
Yes, exactly. Then the Middle East, it holds around 2% of the global revenue, so maybe USD 1.9 billion in 2025. But look at the growth, projected CAGR of 6.8%.
Higher still.
Yep. Driven mainly by Saudi Arabia and the UAE, both showing CAGRs over 7%.
Interesting. And Africa.
Africa represents the smallest share currently, about 1% of global revenue. That's just over USD 1 billion in 2025.
Okay.
The CAGR is projected at 5.8%. South Africa is the main market within the region.
So, to sum up the geography, North America and Europe are the big players now, volume-wise. But the real growth momentum seems to be in Asia-Pacific, followed by the Middle East and South America.
That's a very good summary, yeah. The growth dynamics are definitely shifting.
Okay, let's pivot a bit. What's actually driving all this outsourcing? What are the key forces pushing companies in this direction?
The report highlights a few key drivers. One major one is simply the increasing complexity of IT infrastructure.
Right. Things just keep getting more complicated.
Exactly. So outsourcing gives businesses access to specialized skills and ready-made solutions that might be too expensive or, frankly, too difficult to build and maintain themselves.
Especially for smaller companies, I imagine.
Precisely. That's the second point, the growth of small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs. Outsourcing is often just a much more cost-effective route for them to get the tech support they need.
That makes sense. Anything else?
Yes, interestingly, the report specifically calls out the expansion of telehealth services as something expected to really boost sales in this market.
Ah, okay. Healthcare tech support.
Seems like it. And then underlying all of this is just the fundamental need for cost-effective solutions, ways to enhance efficiency without breaking the bank. That's always a driver.
Absolutely. Get specialized help, potentially 24/7, without the overhead of full-time staff. I can see the appeal, but surely there are downsides. What are the potential roadblocks or restraints mentioned?
Yes, there are definitely concerns. The report flags a couple of key ones. Number one is the potential for a drop in the quality of support when you outsource it.
Yeah, I can see that. Maintaining standards isn't easy.
It's a real challenge. Ensuring the external provider has the right expertise, the right attitude, the right training. It's crucial, but can be tricky.
And the other restraint.
The other big one is data security, the risk of data loss or, theft.
Oof, yeah. That's huge. You're handing over access to potentially sensitive systems.
Exactly. It's a massive consideration, especially with all the regulations and the focus on privacy these days. Businesses need to be really careful about who they partner with.
Those are definitely serious points to weigh. So looking forward, beyond those drivers and restraints, what are the big trends shaping how this market is evolving?
Well, that push for cost effectiveness and efficiency, that's an ongoing major trend. It's not going away.
Right.
But another interesting trend the report notes is the rise of service providers who actually have really strong internal IT teams themselves.
Okay. How did that play out?
It means they're offering more integrated, maybe more sophisticated customer support solutions. It's not just basic troubleshooting anymore. It suggests a move towards more comprehensive outsourcing partnerships, maybe higher up the value chain.
So evolving beyond the simple help desk model towards something more strategic.
Potentially, yeah. More like a true technology partner, not just a call center.
Interesting. Okay, let's dig into the services themselves. What kind of technical support services are being outsourced the most?
According to the report, the dominant segment right now is still call center services.
Okay, the traditional mainstay.
Pretty much. It's driven by that ongoing universal need for effective customer support across pretty much every industry you can think of.
And the benefits are clear, I suppose.
Yeah, 24/7 availability, multilingual options, and the big one, cost savings. Plus, you're seeing more AI and automation filtering and making these centers more efficient too.
Right, AI handling the simpler queries, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
So call centers lead the pack. But what about growth? Which service area is expanding the fastest?
The report identifies customer acquisition as the fastest growing segment.
Customer acquisition. So not just supporting customers, but actively getting new ones.
Exactly. Businesses are outsourcing parts of their sales and marketing pipeline, essentially. It's fueled by that basic need to grow, to expand the client base, increase revenue.
And why outsource that?
Well, it gives them access to specialized skills. Think data analytics, targeted digital marketing, creating those really personalized customer experiences. Outsourcing providers often have advanced tools and techniques that might be hard for a company to develop internally.
Especially with digital marketing and social media being so central now.
Precisely. That's a big part of why this segment is growing so quickly.
So traditional support is the biggest slice, but finding new customers via outsourcing is where the fastest growth is. That's quite revealing. Now, flip side. Which industries are the biggest users of technical support outsourcing?
The leading industry segment is, perhaps unsurprisingly, IT and telecommunication.
Makes sense. Tech companies outsourcing tech support.
Right. They often deal with really complex systems, advanced networks, security challenges. It requires specialized help, sometimes even for their own internal operations, let alone customer service.
Logical.
Oh.
Okay, so IT and telecom leads. Which industry is showing the fastest growth in using these services?
That would be the retail and e-commerce sector.
Ah, okay. That makes a lot of sense too.
Yeah, it's really being fueled by the massive boom in online shopping, right? And the
Right.
corresponding demand from consumers for, like, a totally seamless experience.
No friction, easy returns, quick help if something goes wrong.
Exactly. So outsourcing helps these retailers manage their online platforms, deal with customer issues around payments or shipping, keep the digital side running smoothly. Now think about mobile shopping, social media commerce, cybersecurity for payments, managing complex supply chains. It all adds up.
Yeah, the demands on e-commerce businesses are huge. Outsourcing support seems almost essential for many of them to scale.
It really does seem that way.
Now, the report also touched on some recent developments. Anything specific stand out there?
Yeah, a couple things were mentioned. One was Oracle back in June 2024, announcing a big investment over $1 million in Madrid
Okay, for what?
to set up a new cloud region there. The idea is to boost the capabilities of local Spanish businesses and also help them with compliance, like meeting the requirements of the EU's Digital Operational Resilience Act, DORA.
Ah, so infrastructure investment tied to regulatory compliance. Interesting. What else?
The other one was Accenture acquiring a company called Insight Sourcing in February 2024.
Insight sourcing. What do they do?
They specialize in strategic sourcing and procurement services. Accenture bought them to strengthen their own offerings in that area, especially for clients like private equity firms, particularly in consumer goods and tech sectors.
So more consolidation and capability building in the broader consulting and services space.
Seems like it. Bringing in specialized expertise through acquisition.
Okay, these examples show there's still a lot of activity and strategic movement happening around this whole area. Let's try and bring this all together then. What are the main takeaways from this deep dive into the technical support outsourcing market?
Well, I think the big picture is clear. It's a large and definitely growing global market. We're talking nearly $49 billion projected for this year, 2025, and it's set to keep expanding pretty significantly over the next decade or so.
Driven by that need for cost savings, but also increasingly by the sheer complexity of technology.
Exactly. And while North America and Europe are the current heavyweights in terms of market share, the real growth story seems to be shifting towards the Asia-Pacific region. That's where the highest growth rates are projected.
All right, APAC is the one to watch for momentum.
Definitely. And industry-wise, IT and telecom is the biggest user, but retail and e-commerce is catching up fast in terms of growth. Service-wise, call centers are still dominant, but customer acquisition services are expanding most rapidly.
So for you listening, understanding these shifts, well, it can be really valuable, can't it? Whether you're running a business and thinking about your own support strategy, or maybe you're an investor looking for opportunities, or even if you're just curious about how the global economy is adapting to technology.
Absolutely. This trend towards outsourcing technical support, it really highlights how complex our tech world has become and how critical efficient customer service and customer acquisition are for business strategy today.
It certainly does. Which leads us to maybe a final thought to leave you with.
Huh.
Given this projected growth and everything driving it,
Yeah.
how might artificial intelligence and automation really reshape this landscape even more in the coming years?
That's the big question, isn't it? Could AI, handle more complex tasks? Could automation alleviate some of those concerns we talked about, like quality control or even data security?
Could it potentially accelerate the growth even further? Or maybe change the type of outsourcing we see?
It's definitely something to think about. Will it enhance the current model or disrupt it entirely? A fascinating question to ponder as this market continues to evolve.